Welcome back. Well, recently, Long Island and even the nation paid tribute to a Long Island firefighter who lost his battle with cancer as the result of working on the toxic pile following the Twin Towers collapse. TV 1055's Carolyn Gussoff now with more on the life of a man who stood in Washington to demand and to get coverage for sickened first responders who risked it all to lend a hand.
The vintage fire truck FDNY veteran Ray Fifer restored with love carried him to his funeral mass at Holy Family Church, a touch of his distinctive spirit amid the grief.
We'd say, I'm just a kid from Levittown. It's almost like he didn't know how special he was, but he was.
Comedian Jon Stewart delivering the eulogy. Together, they tirelessly took on Washington, fighting for federal health care for sick Ground Zero recovery workers. Fifer always carrying a stack of prayer cards to honor the hundreds of firefighter brothers he lost on 9/11.
And now, Raymond, I got one. And it's going to teach me how to do right.
Fifer turned the crushing loss of 9/11 into a mission, scouring for months on the toxic pile, and then, when diagnosed with cancer as a result, working 8 years to pay it forward.
He was a doer, and Ray had a way of sucking you in. Once you were in, that was that. You were locked into a world of doing good for others, too.
Your husband, your dad, was a hero. Not only for the way he bravely fought fires in his career, but the way he lived his life and the thousands of people he helped.
Now, the brotherhood he cherished paid it back with respect from departments near and far.
He made such a good impact on the fire department in New York and just all over the country.
We're saying goodbye to a hero who did ordinary things, but did it at an extraordinary time during 9/11.
I think Ray left a little bit of himself in all of us, and I think he taught us a little bit more about humanity, and I think that's why we're all crying today.
An eternal optimist, Fifer just a month ago quipped,
"I'm going to live forever."
And now his legacy will surely live on. Fifer earning a place not only as a hero, but also a symbol of patriotism and the virtue of giving more than you take out of life. In Hicksville, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, TV 1055.
And joining us now is John Feel from the Feel Good 9/11 Foundation. John himself badly injured on the pile, fought shoulder to shoulder in Washington with Ray Fifer to pass and then extend the Federal Zadroga Act covering first responders, health care. And welcome to the show, John.
Thank you for having me again.
And we could see it there in the story. I know you're still shaken even today by the loss of a man you called your hero. Your thoughts following his funeral and, you know, how the cause goes forward to cover first responders with his passing?
Well, you know, Ray's loss still hurts. I think Ray was taller in a wheelchair than most people are standing up. We went to D.C. as strangers, but we left as a family because of Ray, and he's always going to be in our hearts. And when we go back to renew the bill in 2020, Ray will be with us, and we'll be carrying his prayer cards.
We saw people from around the country come to attend his funeral.
Sure. Well, I mean, Ray had the ability to make people gravitate towards him. The way he lived his life with dignity and class, how can you not? And listen, I had a madness about me to make this man as famous as I could when he joined our team. And Ray used to say he was the poster boy, but Ray was the backbone.
Well, you know, almost 16 years later after that horrific day, but we understand now that first responders like Ray and others will officially be honored at the pile. How so? At the World Trade Center?
You know, for years, even before the Zadroga bill was renewed, we always wanted a monument or some sort of dedication at the plaza at the 9/11 Memorial Museum. And with the help of Jon Stewart again, my good friend, we now are working with the governor's office and the museum to build a permanent memorial for 9/11 responders. You know, when I go there personally, it's a somber place. It's something where I'm sad or I'm angry. But there's nothing that made me feel patriotic when I walked in there. And I want that patriotic feeling again. And I want to be able to say, you know what, this monument was built for those who are into harm's way.
Well, is it official? Is it in place? Is it going to happen?
It's going to happen.
The okay, the word.
Yeah, well, you know, they put out a press release. The governor's office is 100% behind it. The museum's 100% behind it. Now it's just a matter of all parties sitting down and exactly what we're going to build, what we're going to erect, and how we're going to honor these men and women, uniform and non-uniform.
Do they have the money for it? Was it raised through contributions? How's that all going down?
Well, the beauty of it is that Governor Cuomo offered up $500,000, and that's not me speaking out of place. And not to be outdone, Mike Bloomberg said he'll match that $500,000. Wow. So we have $1 million to build something special that will last a lifetime and for generations to come.
Where will it be? Do you know yet? And what do you want it to say? What do you want it to look like? Or I know you're not going to be involved in the design totally, but what do you think it should stand for?
I have a say in that. Yeah. And there'll be no names on it. But if I envision something 6 feet high, 4 feet wide, 4 feet wide, an eternal flame, but something that says that we honor those who ran into harm's way, who risked their lives without prejudice, and that 16 years later, while we were a little late to the party, we didn't forget.
Absolutely, and I think that will draw enormous crowds from people all over the country, a tribute like that to the first responders.
You know, most people think that 2 buildings came down that day and innocent lives were lost to senseless violence. But the fact is 343 firefighters were in that building, 23 police officers, 37 Port Authority officers, and over 1,800 people since then have died because of their heroic actions.
Yeah, and you fought along with Ray to get this Droga Act passed and then extended. How many people have actually been covered under that now, received some sort of benefit from the government?
Well, right now there's over 77,000 people in the country, 433 out of 435 congressional districts that are being treated under the World Trade Center Health Program. Now there's over more than 22,000 people that have a victims' compensation fund.
Shows you how many people came in and out of that pile from all around the country.
10-month cleanup. People, you know, when the poop hits the fan in this country, it's the American people that come together, no matter what your religion, no matter what your politics, no matter what your skin color is, you're an American. And 9/11 was the single largest act of volunteerism we've ever seen.
Last year we had some local doctors, I think at Winthrop University Hospital, right, saying that they pretty much had created a link between neuropathies that were being suffered by first responders who worked on the pile, and you've been trying to get that covered. Where does that stand?
Well, neuropathy has been shot down again by the scientific...
That's like nerve damage that people suffer. Back pain,
to get a bill, to get an illness added to the bill, it has to be approved by the Scientific Technical Advisory Committee and Dr. Howard. But we're close to getting that and other autoimmune or heart. We're trying to get several illnesses added. And, you know, listen, let's not kid ourselves. We have a new administration, and it's that much harder to get these things added.
Yeah, and then there's also some people who were disabled and to some extent or needed treatment that work in suburban counties like Nassau and Suffolk counties that maybe worked with the NYPD or the fire department before, but now they're on Long Island. Yeah. And they need a lot of time off to get help for these treatments. Yeah. And they're what, using up all their sick pay time? And
correct.
So you're trying to do something in Albany to address that, because that's something the counties can't afford, is to give people endless days off in order to go get health coverage, yet on the other hand, it's coverage they desperately need.
A quick example, if you worked for the NYPD on 9/11, you were down there for a month, but 3 years later, you're still not sick, you want to go work for Suffolk County. Now you got sick. Neither one of them can help you, and now we're trying to get a bill to close that gap. And
see if the state can maybe help out with that.
I'm confident Governor Cuomo and Senator Flanagan are going to get this bill done. And if they don't, then I'm going to be a pain in the ass.
That we've heard before. John Field with the Feel Good Foundation. Never one to mince words, looking out for our brave first responders and their health. Thank you for your service to us all.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
And we'll be right back.